Aloha Sharks fans! Welcome back to another episode of Sharks Weekly, your inside look at Hawaii Pacific University athletics, right here on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. I'm Bailey Furman, and we're live from HPU Esports Arena, powered by DSC Hawaii. And today we're diving into HPU Beach Volleyball, a team that's been putting in the work and gearing up for some big matches ahead. This squad is a mix of fresh talent and experienced leadership, and we'll break down their journey so far, highlight standout moments, and take a look at what's ahead for the Sharks. Joining us today is HPU Beach Volleyball Assistant Coach Perla Escobar, an HPU alum who dominated the court as a player and is now leading the next generation of athletes. We've also got Rosie Larkin, a transfer from Salt Lake City Community College, and Nguyen, who has a pretty unique story about how she found her way onto the team. Big shout out to our in-studio producer, Paul Breck. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, excited for another fun show. We got another fun group with us today, and if our pre-show conversations were anything of a hint on what's to come, I think fans will be excited to learn about this program today.
Yeah, definitely. I am too. And of course, we want to hear from you. Text in your questions to 808-888-5481, and we'll get to as many as we can throughout the show. So, Coach Perla, you've been a part of the program both as a player and now as a coach. What's it like being on the other side of things?
It's very exciting being on the other side of things. We can see all the possibilities, all the things that the team is doing well on, all the things that we can improve on, and it's very exciting, being on the spectator side and also always thinking about ways that we can help the girls grow on and off the court, and working with the other coaches has been very exciting.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk a little bit about your career. You reached that thousand marks and kills and digs, right? How did that help shape your decision to come back? I guess what was the decision to come back and coach for HPU?
So after graduating, I actually felt a little bit lost volleyball-wise, just because I had always been involved in volleyball since I was born, basically. Mm-hmm. My mom played volleyball her whole life. My older sister played volleyball her whole life. And so after graduating, I was just kind of like, where's the volleyball part of my life? And so a few years went by. I was playing Sunday League, just kind of co-ed. And I happened to run across Janik, and he said, are you, still playing? And I said, yeah, I still play any chance that I get. And he said, any chance that you may want to come back on the program, and, a fresh pair of eyes, a new perspective. And I said, I would absolutely love to. I've been looking for a way to get back into volleyball, giving back.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be the perfect opportunity. I was so happy to say yes.
Definitely. And Rosie, you coming in from New Zealand, right? Is this your first time playing beach? Second year playing beach, right? Is this something new to you?
Actually, not really. So New Zealand's beach volleyball culture is really big.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you kind of start playing sand before you kind of play indoor. I think a lot like here, probably like with Dana, having played sand like a lot, but being on a beach, growing up on a beach, it's like a complete different way of life in a way. And so, yeah, you kind of like, we start really late in New Zealand. Like I didn't start playing until my freshman year of high school, but in the summers, like every chance you get, you're outside with your friends. Like there's courts set up in really beautiful places. And so kind of my first almost like high level-ish of volleyball was actually playing beach. So we have this tournament, it's called IPC, it's like Interprovincial Champs. And like in your region, I guess it'd be like the equivalent of like states, but like really, really small. And yeah, it's like this huge tournament. It's like this really big thing when you're like 15, 16. You like get a whole bunch of like your jerseys from like your region, and you feel like, oh, I'm really cool. But yeah, we were terrible. We were really, really bad. But that I think was like my first experience playing sand. And I know here, especially on our team, like a lot of girls have only really played indoor, and so the transition of like getting your sand legs and like running on sand and like the strategy behind playing beach is something you really have to learn, and you learn through like watching and playing a lot. But yeah, in New Zealand you kind of do both at the same time, and they both kind of like progress at the same time, and so that was really special. And at my last college, we actually played beach in the spring, which is really strange for Utah considering it's freezing cold, but there was a sand facility quite close, and so we would go, in the spring we would play for about a month and then like switch back to indoor. So yeah, it's a really fun thing to do, and I'm really grateful to be able to have this opportunity here.
What's the biggest transition for you going from indoor to outdoor? You talked about a different mentality, right?
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely say the team aspect is a lot nicer in indoor. I feel like if, you're struggling a little bit, like you've got 5 other people on the court to help you out, and like sometimes some plays you don't even touch a ball, and sometimes it's really, really nice, and sometimes it's not nice, but you kind of have breaks in between. I feel like being part of a bigger group of people and like kind of not focusing so much on yourself almost is like a really freeing feeling. But then also on the flip side, it can be really, really fun when you're playing beach and, you're locked in, you're in the zone, like you and your partner have great chemistry, and like you kind of have this like, okay, I have this huge amount of confidence in myself and like I know what I'm doing. Is really, really exciting. And yeah, I would say beach can be really, really hard, especially if you're in a hole. You've only got like one person to get you out or yourself, and I think that's a really great skill to learn. And I think you kind of have to learn pretty young. My beach partner at home, her name's Wani, she plays on the UNCW women's team now, but she's like a 6'3", like right side, and so anytime we were at a tournament, like obviously I'm going to be the serving target, and so like being able to cope with that and still finding ways to score is a big part. So yeah.
And then Dana, your journey to HPU, Coach Janik talked a little bit about how it wasn't very traditional. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it was not traditional at all. I'm a walk-on this season, but pretty much I've been at HPU since 2021, so I've been here since freshman year. I'm a ride or die for the school.
Go Sharks!
Yup. However, I retired indoor. I will never go back to that, but ever since I moved here in 2021, I noticed that Queens, like beach volleyball here, is major. And I'm from Indiana, where we're close to Lake Michigan, but obviously we can't be playing all year round. So here it was like when I started finding like the love and passion for it, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to play this like every day, and I could. So I started just playing just for fun. Like I started doing tournaments, co-ed, and all this stuff, and I just like really found like a big Ohana out there, which is nice. Yeah, right. And so then this last spring was pretty much the first season again since like I don't even know when, but it's been a couple years since we had a beach program. And I remember I was like, oh wow, like that's so cool. I'd love to be a part of that. And so I went to watch one of their matches at Queens. It was against Chaminade. And I was like, yeah, this is so awesome. And my friend who was playing at the time, she was like, let me just introduce you to the coach. So she did. I talked to Coach Janik, and I pretty much was like, yeah, I go to HPU. I'd love to be part of the team. He's like, we'd love to have you. And now I'm here. And I was so lucky because the girls actually nominated me, so I'm beach captain.
Nice.
And so, yeah, it's honestly been like such a dream. And it's so cool to just see how like this program's so new, but it can definitely go far. And I'm hoping it will.
And with the program being so new, what are you looking to add? You're captain, right? How do you contribute your energy to the girls?
Honestly, just knowing that since I was an outsider, like before I even came on the team, I knew like none of these girls. And so I think coming on and just giving them the spark and motivation of like, from what I see on the outside, like there's so much talent here. Like these girls are phenomenal. Even watching their indoor, it's like, wow, like it's there. So I just hope that kind of just being, a captain right now and leading, like, okay, like let's work hard. And granted, yeah, for years we've been used to being like the underdog team. Like let's pull out now and just keep growing and growing so then that we're not like the underdog team.
Yeah.
Dana is a great captain in terms of
Thank you.
You lead by like doing, and that's a really important thing.
Thank you,
So,
Rosie.
great captain.
And I'm sure that starts with the coaches, right? You guys coming in. You talked that we didn't have a beach program coming in, right, Coach Perla? So have you been doing beach tournaments yourself, maybe co-ed, or you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when I was on the team, we had very keeping beach kind of more as a workout and a way to stay in shape in the off season. And now I keep beach more as like a Sunday league, playing, in 4-man teams, and it's been so fun. We play once a month at Fort DeRussy, and it's been awesome.
I love that. We're getting a cue to take a commercial break. Hawaii Pacific University Athletics is sponsored by Giovanni Pastrami, Waikiki's premier sports bar. We'll take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. More HPU beach volleyball talk coming up next on Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network's 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Sharks Weekly here on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. I'm still here with Coach Perla Escobar, Rosie Larkin, and Dana Nguyen, talking all things HPU volleyball, beach volleyball. Coach, beach volleyball requires a different level of communication than indoor. How do you guys develop that chemistry between the partners?
So it's been really great because a lot of the girls come in from the indoor, so a lot of the girls already know each other, and so we try to pair them in a way where we have one girl who's more on the offensive side and more on the defensive side, and make sure that there's one of each in each pair. However, these girls are so awesome because they really go out there and just have fun. I know it can be a little frustrating going from indoor to the sand and, finding your sand legs, and there's a lot more that falls on you. Half the court is, or at least we try to make it half the court you, half the court your partner, but it's not always that way. Sometimes one girl will have to carry a little more weight than the other. But they've been really awesome, and where they just go out there and they just play, and they're learning and they're wanting to learn. You can tell that there's this real hunger for knowledge and how to get better, how to improve. And I think it's been going really well because for some girls, it's their first time playing beach ever. And it can be really challenging to make that big change. But I'm really proud of the progress that they've made and how much grace they've given themselves as they're coming in from a different atmosphere indoor to beach. But I think it's going great. I think I'm really excited about the upcoming matches that we have. So
I definitely am. Yeah, it's gonna be a crazy couple matches for you guys, right?
Absolutely.
Taking on Nebraska.
Yes, very exciting.
Seen Chaminade again, right?
Yes.
How does Chaminade look from indoor to outdoor? Do they still have like the same players as well? They do,
yes. They still have the same players, so it's a lot of familiar faces out there. Still very competitive team. They go out there and they grind. And as we've said, going from indoor to beach, majority of their players are also indoor players, just playing beach in the off season. And so it's fair play out there. Everyone's out there, relearning a different branch to volleyball. And it's really exciting matches against them, though. We had very exciting matches at the beginning of the month, and very excited for the next matches next week.
And you guys played Hunakai Park?
Yes.
Was that right?
Yeah, Hunakai.
Dana, how do you like playing there, considered the Queens or Fort DeRussy?
Honestly, Queens is the true beach sand of when you come to Hawaii, that is beach. It's so deep, it gets super hot. But Hunakai is it's just super thick, so it pretty much is indoor, with sand. And so all these girls are I'm glad on my side, obviously my girls, we're just bouncing balls, but then it's you have Nebraska. If we're gonna play them at Hunakai, we better be ready for whatever is about to happen. However, we do play them once at Queens, which the Queens is just such a good camaraderie too, because you get so much foot traffic. So it's people are watching, people just want to be oh, what's happening, UH has such a huge tournament right now, and it's wow, that'd be so sick if we could also play like that. But I think we only have one match this season at Queens.
Yeah. And Rosie, how do you... is the weather different from New Zealand to here?
Yeah, so I would say New Zealand is very much like Hawaii in terms of landscape and nature, but just on like a much bigger scale. Our islands are separate, so we are really, really close to Antarctica, so like at the very bottom. Yeah, it's cold. It gets sniffy. So we've got a lot of skiing and like a lot of nice mountains, but in terms of like beach volleyball, we've got the New Zealand Beach Tour going on right now over our summer, and there's a few tournaments in Christchurch, which is like at the very bottom of the island. So I know some people wearing long sleeves for that. It gets a little cold, but in terms of our sand, honestly, I'm gonna have to disagree about the Queen's sand. Honestly, I think that Queen's sand is like so deep, and I think it's like that's the only place it's that deep.
No, yeah. That's what I was, like, also I was saying.
Yeah.
Like, Queens is the, beach sand.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. know. Our beaches back home, it's almost like Queens, but just like a tiny bit less. So it feels like a really good combination of like, okay, yes, I'm playing sand. Yes, it's like way more work. Like, yes, it's really hard to jump, but it's not like, sometimes Queens can almost feel a little defeating. Like after like a long rally, and it's like, okay, like, oh no, here we go. Oh no. Like, you really feel like you're jumping like 2 inches off the ground. But yeah, our beaches are absolutely beautiful, like phenomenal. Like, we've got this one called Mount Maunganui, which is a lot like Queens, actually, where you've got a lot of foot traffic. It's like a really popular vacation town, I guess you could call it. But we've got this huge Moanga, which is like mountain in Te Reo Māori, and it's just like, you look and you pan and it's just like beach, 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 mountain, beach, beach, beach. So
wow.
It's beautiful.
And I feel like Queens is a little bit more of a touristy.
Yeah.
You know,
Very.
you guys talk about the foot traffic coming in, and I feel like they put more and more sand, so it makes it even deeper,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it gets very tiring, right? Do you guys use sand shoes or sand socks? I know you guys had talked about it slipping. It gets hot.
It gets really hot.
really hot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what do you guys do to deal with that?
Actually, all of our practices have been in the morning, so we haven't like gone through the brutality of the hot sand.
Not yet.
But and yeah, not yet.
Not
But Hunakai, though, I will say, even when we played that day at Chaminade, it was so windy, like so breezy. So even at like 1 or 2, the sand was like totally fine.
Yeah.
But usually, I just wear like just my any beater socks I have in my drawer. I don't own actually any sand socks. Do you?
I used to, but they got thrown out.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I used to do the exact same thing. I used to like wear like a pair of nice white socks, and then my mum used to get really mad because obviously when it gets so hot, like it burns holes in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, you can't keep doing this with your nice baggy socks.
Well, even it's worse though, because Queen sand is so dirty.
Yeah.
So like any pair of sock just turn, if it's white, no.
And you
no
can't
longer.
like wash it in your like group of other laundry.
Yeah.
It's like the water is just gonna be so
The struggle
contaminated.
of outdoor sport.
Yeah, but
See,
it's still
if you
fun.
played indoor, that wouldn't be
Yeah,
a
you
problem.
And it's like 100 times more wicked smelling. All the sweat from your shoes, your indoor
the
shoes.
knee pads.
Yeah.
Oh, that is true. Especially, I had a teammate that would never wash her knee pads.
There's always one.
There's always
It was
That's
always a
crazy.
good luck, right?
Yeah.
So, do you guys have a teammate that does that?
No one's got anything that's.
No, yeah.
I think everyone's pretty self-aware.
Yeah.
You know, like after like a big week, it's like, okay, these gotta go. These gotta go.
Literally.
wash.
So, Dana, let's talk about a little bit how you started beach and your journey, being from Indiana, right? You had said it's not traditional for you guys to be playing beach, correct?
Yeah. So, where I'm from Valparaiso, so we're like at the tip, really close to Lake Michigan. So when it's the summer, and it gets hot there, I'll always drive up and we play beach. However, yeah, once I moved here, like, I actually lived in a hotel my freshman year because, yeah, it was post-COVID, so HPU literally was scrambling to just find some kind of housing. So I lived at Park Shore, which is literally the pink hotel right on the corner of Queens, right by Starbucks. And right on my balcony, every day, I just see Queens. There's like 6 nets up, and I'm like, I gotta get down there. So I went down there. I did the traditional of talking to Mosi, the uncle of the beach, and told him my name. He watched me pepper, and he's like, oh, girl, you got some things to work on. I said, I do indeed. And from there, now, a couple of years later, I can say I've grown a lot. And I want to be able to help others, because beach is something that once you can watch it for sure, but as long as someone just tells you, it's so much easier to understand, like, oh, kind of thing.
And Coach, let's go back to you talking about You are on Mexico's U18 national team, right?
Yes.
And then featured in Sports Illustrated. Sorry, am I putting you on the spot?
No. It's okay.
We didn't know this.
Where did your journey start with volleyball?
So my mom played volleyball her whole life up until she literally couldn't. Like her knees gave out. And my older sister also played volleyball her whole life. And so naturally, since I was able to walk, I was out on the volleyball courts while my sister was playing, while my sister was practicing. And so I grew up playing in Mexico. And then when my family and I moved to the States when I was around 6 years old in kindergarten, first grade, there was no volleyball team in the U.S. where I lived, but luckily, right across the border in Mexico, we still had my team. And so every day after school, my mom would pick me up, already had my lunch prepped for me, my backpack for volleyball packed. And so we'd drive across the border, go to practice. And then after my practice was my sister's practice. And then we'd drive home in the evening. And so I did that from ages around 7 to, I want to say like 16. Then at the age of 16, I decided to play for my high school team. And because there was no real volleyball going on, I was the only real volleyball player on the team. My statistics were crazy. And so that's where I landed, or I got the attention of Sports Illustrated, where they featured me in Faces in the Crowd, just because my statistics were like stand out in the state of California. And that's what got me recognized for a volleyball club in Escondido, California, which was a 2.5-hour drive away. And so then I started playing for that team for one season, which is what got me to Coach Janik. In one tournament, he saw me play. And then, that's how I ended up here. But I did play for Mexico's U18 national team when I was 15. I had to actually drop out for a semester of high school my freshman year and go to school in Mexico for 6 months. And we prepped for 8 months in Tijuana. We practiced and then went to the World Championship in Thailand.
I love that.
Yeah,
and
very
I hope
exciting.
These girls see how much experience and knowledge you bring to them as well.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so
I'd
too.
love to share, and I love volleyball, so.
I'm going to get Hugh to take a break. We'll be Hawaii Pacific University Athletics is sponsored by Duke's Waikiki. An iconic establishment in Waikiki, Duke's Waikiki celebrates an atmosphere that encompasses surfing, the spirit of Hawaii, and live music on the beach. We'll be right back. But stay with us. When we return, we'll look ahead at HPU Beach Volleyball's upcoming schedule on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
All right, Sharks fans, we're back on Sharks Weekly on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. Still rolling with Coach Perla Escobar, Rosie Larkin, and Dana Nguyen, breaking down the upcoming matches for HPU Beach Volleyball. You guys have some exciting matches coming up, right? Nebraska, San Francisco State, and then you guys play Chaminade again. So, Coach, which one are you most excited about?
Well, I got to be honest. I am really thrilled to play Nebraska just because I'm such a big fan of their volleyball program. I feel like they've done so much for just women's volleyball in general. And just as like a big fan of the players in general, honestly, individually, they have some really amazing players. But as I said earlier, it is fair play when it comes to sand. You know, transitioning as an indoor player into the sand, it's fair play. And so, not everyone can say that they're playing one of the best collegiate volleyball programs in the country. And so I'm really excited about that. Obviously, still really excited to play Chaminade in San Francisco State. We have an ongoing rivalry with Chaminade, you know. But it's always very fun to play them. But yeah, absolutely. I got to say, playing Nebraska is a really exciting one.
Oh, I think it'll definitely be exciting, especially like since it was negative 10 degrees the other day in Nebraska.
Yeah.
So seeing how they come out here, obviously the weather is going to be a factor. And like you guys said, the sand, right? You guys play one at Queens and one at Hunakai. So kind of seeing them transition into that will definitely be interesting. Let's talk a little bit about the leagues that have been popping up with volleyball recently. The growth of women in volleyball and how it's been kind of transitioning into this bigger picture of where maybe when we were growing up, they didn't have stuff like that, right? We had talked about how they didn't have these leagues that we could play in where we had to go overseas. So now that they're having all these teams and different in the States, what does that mean for you guys, Dana and Rosie?
I think it's like such an incredible opportunity, you know, and professional women's sports in general is not something I think is, I wouldn't say it's promoted, but it's not like an automatic first thought, you know, going out of college athletics. And the fact that like in the US being like collegiate sports is everything here, you know, it's like this huge part of culture and everything about America almost. And yeah, literally. And so having like these opportunities for these incredible collegiate players to like be playing at home in front of their families and friends is so awesome. And it's been, I think, almost like a little controversial with how many have popped up. You know, I think AU Pro was the first one like a few years ago, and that had like a really interesting format. And then they had two ones like pop up in the same kind of year with the PVF and then the, I forgot what it's.
League One.
League One, yeah. But I think it's such an incredible opportunity, and it's really cool to watch. So,
what about you, Dana?
Yeah, honestly, I've noticed like even people at Queens, because obviously we get so many people in and out. Like people always want to come here, but when they're like, oh, like HPU has a beach team, and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty new. They're like, wow, like, because then they ask like, oh, who you guys play? And every time I say Nebraska, they're like, no way, because
like, oh,
it's like literally the beach programs all around the states are just growing. Like everyone is trying to get more into beach, because I feel like with beach volleyball, it's never been a big thing like anywhere besides, you know, like California. Granted, they're more welcome to like the weather of being able to play beach, but it's just like the fact that Nebraska, how you're saying it was just -10, I'm like, where are you guys practicing? You know, like, are you indoor with heaters on or something? So like with sand courts.
Yeah.
But I just think it's cool to see the growth, because beach is something you can play for like forever, you know. I got like uncles, aunties still balling, and honestly, they're better than me. So I'm like, I hope I'm like that when I'm older.
Yeah. You had talked about, Dana, the difference between indoor and outdoor. You brought up knees.
Oh, yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Granted, okay, knock on wood, but it's so rare that someone experiences like a fatal injury from playing beach. But an indoor is
fatal? What do you mean by fatal? Like someone dying?
No, like just ACL that takes you out for
career ending.
Yeah, literally. Yes, career ending. That's a great word, because it's like so many people with indoor. It's like, you know, you go up for a big block, you're about to joust that girl, you come down, someone's, you know, it's so easy, yeah. And just from like ACLs and the journey of just not only physically but mentally, you're going from something you've been playing all the time to now you just got to sit there, go through rehab, you know, do your own thing. It's like brutal. I'm like, beach, you're not likely to tear an ACL. And it doesn't do that. Knock on wood. But it's like indoor. Everyone's like, oh, my knees hurt. I'm like, what'd you do? Played indoor? Yes. You know? I'm not like, oh, my knees, because I played beach yesterday for too long.
I can attest
but
to that.
I love watching indoor, but kudos to the girls that can play, like, seriously. Pretty much all my girls. I'm the only one.
So, Coach, now that they have all these different leagues, do you think after you had finished playing HPU, you think it would have been different? Do you think you would have tried to maybe play somewhere in the States? Or because it's so many more options now,
absolutely.
right?
Yeah, so when it came around my senior year, I was actually talking to our assistant beach coach at the time, and, you know, she was telling me, you could definitely go play somewhere, you know, you just have to get the word out there that you are interested. However, came around my senior year, I was, you know, finishing up my elementary education degree, and I really wanted to start, you know, getting my career started. And so it was kind of, do I want to go overseas and postpone, you know, the beginning of my career, or do I want to, you know, just get started here?
Yeah.
Luckily, it all became very clear because around my senior year, I met my now husband. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to, and then I got a job offer right after. And so that all became very clear. And so I thought, okay, my almost 17-year career volleyball was going to be coming to an end my senior year.
Yeah. I mean, congratulations,
Yeah,
though.
thank you.
It all
Yeah,
worked
yeah,
out
yeah.
in the end. But yeah. I guess, what do you guys do at practice to prepare them for these upcoming matches?
So for practice, we obviously try to focus on resistance, just because playing a full match nonstop can be a little defeating, and we don't want that to be a factor out there where they said we could have won, but we just we ran out of breath at like point 15, and so we focus on resistance, on mostly getting comfortable with just being in the sand, mostly getting their sand legs, making good reads, making smart shots, taking smart shots, just because we've learned that in beach it's not like an indoor where you just go up there and power swing. It's more be more mindful of where the other players are at, and mostly working on communication with your partner. Your partner is your eyes, what do they have open on the other side? And so I think right now mostly the communication's been awesome. The girls have really, really worked on communicating with their partners what means what. They have their own codes out there, and just getting comfortable with being in the sand.
And you guys had said you guys' partners are not set right yet. So Rosie, do you feel like you're more of a defensive player, offensive player?
I'm definitely a defensive player.
You
I'm definitely a defensive player. Yeah, definitely. I think because there's so many like factors that coaches think about in terms of like pairings and partners, and our first match against Sham was a little difficult with eligibility stuff. So not all of us, we had kind of had like set partners that week, but not all of us really got to go about with them. But yeah, I think being able to do both is really important. But I'm definitely more of a defensive player.
What about you, Dana?
Definitely defensive. I've tried blocking. I just can't jump high enough. I cannot get any hands or fingers over that tape. However, I love being actually, because when I did play indoor, I was like libero, so it's definitely helped me transition into beach, where just like I can grab those balls from my big. But I've been playing with my partner. Her name's Kate. It's nice because she played last year, and so and she's also from New Zealand, so she's one of the other girls. New Zealand represent.
Shout out.
But just her sand legs are definitely there. It's not like all new to her kind of thing, so it's nice playing with someone that also has like the sand legs built up.
So Rosie, why aren't the two New Zealand girls?
That's a question for coach. Kate and I have known each other actually for quite a while. So we actually, we met we went to California in 2019. I was like on the under 17 beach team. She's like on the under 19 beach team. And we played a whole bunch of tournaments in California. So
Wait,
nice.
Together?
no,
Oh, just
she was
in
like
the
older
oh,
than me.
gotcha. Okay.
It was like it was a huge group. It was like one of the first events kind of that was like really, really big in New Zealand beach volleyball, and they're trying to like establish kind of a program and like a pathway for a lot of players, because I guess like now it's a pretty common thing for a lot of us to go overseas and play collegiately overseas. We've got like one of my best friends about to go play at LMU next fall, and really, really exciting stuff. There's been a few who've been at FIU and a whole bunch of really big schools. So
Wow.
it's pretty cool.
And Dana, this is your first year playing, right?
Yeah.
What are you looking to do after? You're about to graduate next year?
In the May.
Yeah.
In actually
May?
this May.
Okay, this
in
May.
the May.
Sorry.
Literally this May. It's the time has come. Even though it's flown, like honestly, I feel like just yesterday I was living in that like pink hotel, like not knowing what to do with my life. I remember actually the first week I flew here, I cried every single day of the week because I was like, this not for me. Let me pack my bags and go. But I'm glad I've stayed. Like it's been such a dream, just every day here kind of thing. And even this opportunity now, I'm so grateful for it.
I love it. Well, I'm glad you're out here. I'm glad you're part of the team.
Thank you.
I'm getting a cue to take a commercial break. Hawaii Pacific University Athletics is sponsored by Wai'ea Water. Don't leave the quality of your drinking water and your health to chance. Wai'ea Water's atmospheric water generators create clean, pure, eco-friendly drinking water right from the air. Stick around, we've got one final segment coming up. You won't want to miss it on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back. Let's wrap up with some final thoughts on the differences between beach and indoor volleyball with Coach Perla Escobar, Rosie Larkin, and Dana Nguyen. Coach, you see a lot of players transition between beach and indoor. What are the two biggest differences between the two, you feel like?
Well, definitely who you have out there with you. In indoor, you have 5 other players, and I feel like there's a constant rotation. You're in the front row, you're in the back row. And beach, it's just you and your partner, and it's not always going to be you, being on the defensive side or on the offensive side. Sometimes you got to do both. Sometimes your partner and you got to switch. And so it's just you and your partner. There's a lot more touches that you're going to get. You're going to touch the ball every single play. More balance, I would say, on the beach side. There's a lot more power shots in indoor rather than beach shots or more smart shots. So yeah, I would say it's kind of like learning a new variation of the language you already know going into beach volleyball, but definitely very fun. Absolutely very fun.
Do you feel like beach is more mental or indoors? Which one do you feel like is more mental, I guess? Because volleyball is a mental sport in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like they're both momentum sports. Like I feel like if your momentum is there, then you're locked in. But for I want to say beach personally. I feel like beach is more mental for me because there's a lot more weight that falls on you, and it's the two players on the other side against you two, and they will target your weaknesses. And if a player were to, or a team were to target your weaknesses in indoor, you can kind of fall back on your teammates there. However, it's a lot harder to hide from your weaknesses if it's just you and your partner out there. So I would say for me, beach is a lot more of a mental game. Yeah.
Right, because indoor at least you can kind of hide it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where
yeah.
It's just you and your partner, and you guys better have that connection, right?
Literally.
So, Rosie, how do you get over that mental? Like, let's say you get a couple shanks, serve receive isn't going well. How do you get over that mental block and kind of help support your partner or your partner supporting you?
Yeah, I think for each player in person, it's completely different. But it was actually something I really struggled with was like my mental game growing up. I think it's not something that is really worked on enough. And unless you're like a very outwardly confident person, it can be really difficult. And so for me, I'm like a very mental visualization person. I'm very, like what I picture in my head, I know I can do. And so let's say I've had like a bad play, shank a serve receive and then like have a really bad set to my partner, and then you feel kind of guilty, like, oh rats, like sorry, like you kind of feel bad. But I think telling myself like I know what I'm doing, I'm confident in what I'm doing, like I've done this skill millions and millions of times, and like putting that trust back on myself, and telling myself I've got it, I know what to do. And I have this thing where it's like it's almost like a game. It's like I'm not gonna let you get the next point on me. Like there's no way that that's smart. Yeah, so making it kind of like a competitive thing with myself, and like for example, if it's the server, I'd be like, there's no way you're gonna ace me, like I'm gonna pass a dime, so
yeah. And Dana, what kind of support do you expect from your partner?
Usually, I've had my fair share playing with a few like toxic people, so I won't lie. Like if I'm, it's just you and your partner, So if I'm down, obviously like mentally, I gotta tell myself like I'm here for my partner as well. However, I do kind of sometimes need to know like, okay, don't give up on me because like I have shanked one pass or I didn't get that defensive play. But usually like Kate gives so much grace to me. Like I know when we played Chaminade, that was the first match ever that we played together that competitively. But it was such a good match, like so fun. And there were times where like serve receive is all mental. And obviously like as a short person on the court, like compared to your partner, we're targeted. So it's like, all the time. I'm like, if I shank one, I know the next one's coming to me. So I'm like, gotta fix it now. But if not, like, usually I'm just like, okay, no, I got this. I'm here for my partner. But worst case scenario, I will be like, can we switch for one? So then usually at that point, hopefully they don't go for me again. But switching usually helps just change things up.
And this is a question for all of you guys. Indoor or outdoor? Coach, you first, and why?
Oh, I gotta say indoor all day. I've been an outside hitter since I can remember. Like Dana was saying, though, indoor is a lot harsher on the body. Now that I've been out of collegiate sports for a while, every time I do get back on the court, I can, I was very lucky when I did up until I graduated HPU. Never had any problems with my knees, a few twisted ankle sprains here and there. It's bound to happen as an indoor player. But now that I do hop on the court, it's like, oh, my knees. I can feel it now.
The next day too,
I can feel all those years of volleyball. But yeah, definitely indoor. My heart belongs to indoor volleyball.
Aww.
Dana, do we need to ask? We can still ask. Go ahead.
I'm just beach all day because it's like it's so much more chill, because the last experience I had with indoor, oh my gosh, that was like actually traumatizing. It was so fast. Everyone was like yelling at each other. I was like, guys, why are we going so fast? But yeah, I'm outdoor all the way, but I love watching indoor. I'll be like peanut gallery. I just don't want to partake in it.
It's definitely getting faster.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the sets are getting faster. Everything's just getting faster.
Yeah.
What about you, Rosie?
Honestly, it kind of weans and ways. Like, some years I've been very indoor only, don't like beach, but I think there's something so special about being able to play on, like, the most magical beaches on literally the planet. And, like, even yesterday we had a little bit of a head around on the UH courts that were set up in Queens, and you kind of just, like, drive up and you just go, wow, like, this is...
You were just so happy.
It was like, literally all the cells in my body were just like smiling at me. Like, it was just the most magical, beautiful thing ever. And, and like almost like you have a bad play and you go, well, I'm playing next to the calming sound of an ocean. Like, there's no way I can get mad at myself right now, But I'm a big people person, and so indoor, I think, does have my heart. Sorry, Dana. I think, like, it's just so much more of a team sport, and you feel so much more connected, and you're doing things for other people, and it's not all about you almost. But yeah, it's a difficult question. It's a hard question.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a 2-1. It sounds like decision, though. It's real close.
What do you think?
1.515.
Indoor all day.
Okay.
All day.
Tie-breaking vote. Got about
no.
2 minutes left, maybe a little bit less. So before we get you guys out of here, I did want to give you an opportunity. Is there anything coming up that you want to promote, whether it's community service, a team event, or even matches just for fans to potentially come to? Anything that comes to mind for you guys?
Yes, absolutely. We play next Thursday against Chaminade. This is the season. Silver Swords down. I'm saying it. Like, come on now. But not only that, after spring break, we have a whole week of just play. So definitely come out. We'll be at Hunakai Beach Park. There will be one match at Queens. You can just easily find that on the website. But I do want to say next Wednesday, February 26th, in the center atrium, there was going to be a tailgate. There's going to be free food, snacks, drinks, music, and each spring sport is going to have games and activities to play, and then there's going to be a lot of prizes to win. So definitely show out. It'll be from 4 to 6 p.m. And come cruise, hang out, meet your athletes, get to know them, and
Bang, look at that. Coach, you ever think that Dana could just be the spokesperson for your team? I know she's already the captain.
Absolutely. You've got the job. You're a spokesperson now. No, absolutely. And this is why, I think she was at like 2 practices before she was nominated captain. So it was just like the energy Dana brought. So it's been amazing.
One more thing I want to bring up before we go on break. You guys play Harvard.
Yes.
Indoor. What date is that again?
That's March 17th.
Oh, that would be exciting.
Yeah.
Mark it down.
Yeah, come out if you can. We definitely need some more supporters at our indoor games. So
yes.
Yeah, come on out.
And that's a wrap on Sharks Weekly. Huge thanks to Coach Perla Escobar, Rosie Larkin, and Dana Nguyen. for joining us. You've been listening to Sharks Weekly, broadcasting live from HPU Esports Arena, powered by DSC Hawaii, right here on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. See you next time.